So, welcome to the Honey Pot. My name is Abby Tarpey. I'm a video interviewer, video editor, and interviewer for them. So, kind of just as like a generic first question, if you want to introduce yourself to your current fans and maybe potential new fans.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? Honey Pop. I'm Bailey Bryan, and I make sensitive bad bitch music.
So how would you describe kind of like your artistic journey?
Oh man, that's a. How would I describe my artistic journey? It's definitely been a journey. I grew up kind of loving and listening to all kinds of music. And I started releasing music when I was like 17 or 18. I started writing music when I was 14, 15. And I've kind of dabbled in a lot of different genres. I got my start in country music. Um, as I got a little older, like I kind of rediscovered my love for like 90s hip hop and R&B, and that kind of drove me to make the sort of like pop music that I make today. And the kind of common thread throughout my artistic journey, I think, has just been that like all the music that I make is kind of driven by like my messy, like emotional internal state at all times. Like that, like I've experimented with a lot of different sounds, but what's constant is like I'm a mess and I feel a lot and I'm gonna write about that. And that's why I call the music I make today sensitive bad bitch music. Like that's kind of my genre that I've created for myself, because like that's the one thing you're always gonna kind of feel when you listen to what the music I make.
I was actually really curious about kind of that country influence because you've been in Nashville for a while. And I was curious how Nashville's kind of style and like songwriter circuit has influenced your other genres that you're interested in.
Yeah, I lived in Nashville for like 6 years. I literally just moved to LA like 5 months ago, I want to say. And I love it here. Like I'm happy. Like I've always wanted to live in LA. Like I'm a West Coast girl, so it's great. But Nashville was like such an incredible place for me to like really grow up as a songwriter. I moved there when I was 17. I'm 24 now. And I started doing country music when I moved there. But I was also like just trying to figure out who I was as an artist. And songwriting is forever like my favorite part of the job. Like I've always said, like if I can be the biggest artist in the world, that's incredible. Like of course I want to like play stadiums and tour the world and like film music videos and like do all this cool shit. But like if I had to pick one part of like what like my life today to keep and I couldn't do the rest, like it would be songwriting. Like it would be like locking myself in a room and just like pouring my heart out. And Nashville like doesn't play about songwriting. Like country music doesn't play about songwriting. They're like, you walk into a room to like write a song in Nashville, like to do a co-write, and like the other writers will be like, okay, what do we want to say today? And it's a very kind of like cerebral way of going about music, which is cool. It would be frustrating for me sometimes as like I'm like a very floaty artistic person. I'm like, I just want to feel out the vibes, but like Nashville will make you like sit and think about what you're saying in a song, which is something that I'm really grateful like for experiencing, that I like it's second nature to me now to like think about the words that I'm saying in my song. And I get to take that into like the pop music that I make, which is often more like melody driven. And I go into sessions here in LA and everyone's just like, let's just catch a vibe. Like, just like, let's just like sing whatever, which I love. Like, I love the laxness, but like, there's the little voice in my head that's like, yeah, but like, think about it. Like the lyrics matter. Like the song is like a piece of art and it should be treated that way. So yeah, I'm super grateful for like cutting my teeth in Nashville as a songwriter.
That does sound like it had a really nice impact then.
Yeah.
But kind of looking at those different artistic mediums, are you exclusively into writing or have you ever been interested in those kind of visual sides of it? So like fashion, photography, music videos, etc.
Yeah, man, literally anything creative is like gets me excited. So like I'm always having just like random music video ideas. Like all the visuals I've ever done have like come from like a concept from my own mind. And sometimes like my last single that I put out, MF with 24K Gold, and like the concept that I had for it was like when I got on like my first few like calls with my team to talk about like what's the creative behind the song, like what's the video going to be, all this stuff. Like my first thought, I was just like, I just want it to be green. And that was all that I had. Like that was the seed that like started the music video, and the whole like it turned into like a story for the song and a meaning behind the color green that matched what the song was about. But I was just like, I'm seeing green, you guys, so let's make that mean something. But then sometimes I come in and I'm like, okay, I have an entire story that like I want to like act out for this song. And I have a pretty heavy hand in like all of the visual stuff I do, from cover art to like, I have an incredible stylist and makeup artist that I'm like always in a group chat with, just like, okay, what are like creative things we can try? Like, what direction do we want to take? Like the look for this next era and whatever. I think it all definitely goes hand in hand in being an artist. And I do really like all of those different pieces.
And you mentioned your collaboration with 24K Golden. So I've been so curious, how did that come about? What was it like collaborating with him?
Dude, it was great collaborating with him. He's awesome. Like so sweet, so talented. You know, everything you hope like an artist that you admire like will be when you work with him. And I'd been a fan of him for a minute. He was like on my list of like dream collabs for the song. I just thought his voice, like, so I already wrote the song. Like I had written it, decided I wanted to put it out. I was talking to my label at the time. They were like, would you be open to putting a feature on the song? I'm like, do you think anybody would want to feature on the song? Because if so, then yes. They were like, yeah, I mean, we can always try and reach out to some people. Like, just give us a list. Like, who, like, dream collaboration. Like, who do you think would be great for this song? And I just, like, I thought he would sound so dope. And I was right. So they reached out to him. My team did. And he said no originally to the song. Him and like a couple other artists, like it all came back in the same week, and it was like, nah, they passed on it. And I was like, fair. But then, and so I was just like fine with going, I was gonna go forward and put out the song without a feature, like whatever, it was just an idea. And then one day, like some people from my team asked me to like hop on a Zoom call, and I hop on the Zoom call and nobody says anything. It's like a Saturday, like such a random time to like have a meeting. Nobody says anything. They just start playing the song. And I'm like, yeah, I know the song. I wrote it. What are we doing? And then it gets to the second verse, and then Golden comes in. And I knew it was him right away. He has such a distinct voice. And I was like, how did y'all change his mind? Like, what happened? And like, they surprised me. It was very cool. It was like and he really did say no originally, though. Like, he really did say no. But like, someone that was at my label ran into like him and his manager at a studio somewhere, and like they gave him shit for passing on the song. And he was like, you know what, like I actually can't get that song out of my head. Like I have been like singing it a ton. And his manager was like, you should just go in and like just try a verse, like just try it. And so he did, and he sent it. And then yeah, that was that. It was just like a chance sort of thing that it like came back up, and he thankfully changed his mind. And then we got to shoot a video, and I got to go on tour with him a couple months back. And it was very fun for me to like give him shit about passing on the song initially. Like now that I know him, I was like, hey, remember when you said no to me? And he's like, I don't want to talk about it. So yeah, it's funny. I love
it. With dealing with that type of rejection, I imagine that kind of takes a toll on your mental health at first. And it's been said that your new project is about your journey with self-love. So we'd love if you could kind of talk a bit more about that and how it pertains to your future project.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's kind of like the driving force behind like how I sort of see my relationship with like other people, and I don't know, like it's just like the place that I'm at in life is like, some days I wake up and I like think that I'm the shit, and then other days I wake up and I'm like very down on myself, and very like you said, like the rejection of like being an artist, and like you're constantly having to promote yourself, and people aren't always gonna like care. It's just like everyone's out here like trying to promote themselves or promote something these days. So like you're not gonna go viral every day. Like you're not gonna like have people telling you like the art that you spent hours and hours and days and weeks working on is amazing every single day, even though like that would be really nice because like you're putting your whole self into it. So like not every single song that I'm about to put out is like directly, oh, like this is me and I need to love myself, but it's just me kind of like exploring. Like I'm very like I'm such a like I'm like a lover girl, but I'm also like sensitive bad bitch music, but I'm also like about like I don't need a man. Like I go back and forth between this like sassy like independent headspace and like the headspace of just like I just want to be loved and snuggled and like kissed on the forehead all the time, you know? And both of those things come out in a lot of my music. And I think that like you don't know how to experience like either of those emotions in a healthy way unless you know how to love yourself. And so like my self-love journey and like dealing with like how do I perceive like the way that other people treat me when like I'm not treating myself well or when I am treating myself well. And you hear like the result of like each of those headspaces in all the songs that I'm writing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it definitely does. And you've mentioned the sensitive bad bitch concept a few different times, and that's the title of your new project, Sensitive Bad
Yeah.
Bitch Music, Volume 1.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about what's to come with this new project?
I think I'm starting to like really refine my sound as a pop artist, and that's really exciting. Like I said before, like I call it sensitive bad bitch music because it's kind of my way of like trying to excuse myself from having to like identify with the genre, because like I love all kinds of different music and I love all kinds of different sounds. I call it like pop R&B because that would probably be the most like prevalent influences on the project, but it's like I think it's gonna be 5 or 6 songs, and like even in like the upbeat songs on the project with like which like there's a lot, like I was like I want to put out some like pop bangers, you know? And so that's what we're doing with this project. But even in like the pop bangers that you're gonna hear on it, like there's still undertones of like a little bit of self-doubt or a little bit of like if the song I'm singing about, like my next single is called Passion. Sorry if I'm jumping the gun in the interview. My next single is called Passion, and it's really just about like knowing that you like kind of like deserve more from someone who's like stringing you along, and kind of calling them out for that, but also admitting like you really want them to love you, you know? Like I'm in this song, I'm saying like, you know, I need passion so close, but you keep lacking. I'm like, it's like I want more, and like I want it from you. Like I know like I could definitely walk away right now, but like I am attached, and I do really want you to like me. And so it's kind of like this like bad bitch of like I know I deserve more. It's like I'm gonna ask you again because I really want it. And to me, like that's the epitome of sensitive bad bitch music. Like some people might hear a song like that and just be like, oh yeah, she's like confident, she's like being sexy in her vibe in the song. But I'm like, it came from a place of slight desperation, and I'm not afraid to admit that on the Honey Pop. um and like that's a good example of just like a there's a version of that in every single song that you hear on the project. And then in the more ballady songs that you're gonna hear, like there's still lines where I'm like still holding on to like my power and my confidence, and I can say like, you hurt me, but I'm gonna be okay if in like a breakup song or something. So yeah, that's what you can expect. It's messy and it sounds nice.
Kind of musically, we love the genre bending music, and we know that you love to do that. So where do you grab inspiration from to kind of create the different like funky cool sounds in your music?
Yeah. I like that you said funky because like lately the stuff that we've been working on has like had some like, I don't, is funk like 80s? Some like kind of like 80s like funk influences. And I grew up like my dad had this, I remember he had the CD. I can remember like the logo on the cover art. It was like similar to those like, now that's what I call music logos, but it was like Millennium Funk, and it was like she's a brick house was the song, well, like types of songs on there. And like I forgot that that was like a musical influence that I had growing up until like I was in the studio a few months ago with my producers, and like they were pulling up stuff like this, and I was like, oh, like I know this type of music, like let's like use some of that. And then and like, you can hear that in MF, you can hear it in Passion, the next single that's going to come out, and you'll hear it like a little bit throughout the SBB project. But um on top of that, like 90s R&B and like 2000s R&B has like always been a huge influence for me. It's like some of my favorite music. I grew up on that as well. Like my mom's a huge like TLC, Destiny's Child, Brandy fan. So that'll always be an influence for me. And then you'll hear the like some of like the country lyricism that still comes out. You can I hope that people can still hear that like craftsmanship in my lyrics, but sound wise it's heavily like funk 90s R&B copied with just like modern pop sounds that like you could hear in any given song on the radio right now, because I want to have a hit, you know. So it's all that.
Definitely. And as we're running out of time and coming to the end of the interview, normally my favorite last question is to kind of open the floor, or I suppose open the Zoom to you, and ask if there's anything that you'd want to say directly to your fans or directly to anyone listening.
Yeah. um Man, I've already rambled so much. um I would say that sensitive bad bitch music is really just music for everyone, because I think that we all have, whether you're somebody who pushes them down or wears them on your sleeve, like we all have messy, conflicting, deep emotions, and it feels good to connect with those through music. And then we also have, I hope for everyone to have some kind of level of confidence and like knowledge of their worth. And if you don't, like I hope that you can find it in this music and know that your insecurities and your sensitivities don't take away from your worth or like the badassness that you can have. You can be sensitive and be a bad bitch. And that's just the message I hope to send with my existence and my music. And so look out for Sensitive Bad Bitch Music Volume 1 coming to a device near you very soon.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure to meet you.
You too. Thank you so much.
Yes, and obviously all of your songs and all of your socials will be linked down below.